Hello everyone. Today I'm going to talk about how to program Attiny45 chip using Arduino Uno as a programmer. So first thing first, we've got to make sure that we have our Arduino connected properly by selecting the board as Arduino Uno and also making sure that we have the right port selected. Once we have that, from File, Examples, Arduino ISP has to be selected, and this has to be uploaded to the board. Once we did that, now the Arduino Uno is going to become a programmer. At this point, when you did that, when you uploaded this program, you're going to disconnect your board from the computer because we don't want to cause any short circuit or anything. And then in order to prevent the board from resetting itself, I'm going to use a capacitor. In my case, I use a 47 microfarad, and connected the plus side of it to the reset and the minus to the ground. And once you did that, then you have to put your Attiny chip on the breadboard and connect it to the board, to your board, using this diagram. Pin 1 on the chip goes to pin 10 on the Arduino. It's a reset. Pin 4 connects to the ground on the Arduino. Pin 5 connects to pin 11 on the Arduino. 6 to pin 12 on the Arduino, and 7 to pin 13, and 8 connects to 5-volt on the Arduino. This is very important. You got to make sure that you got this connection right. Otherwise, you're going to get all kinds of crazy error, like device signature not right, or the chip has to have this signature, or blah blah blah. So trust me, you have to make sure that this connection is properly connected. So once we have that out of the way and properly connected to our chip, connect the Arduino Uno back to your computer. And if this is the first time you are using a chip that is brand new, never been programmed, then you have to write a bootloader on it. The way you do it, um, you have to actually upload a library to your Arduino IDE. In my case, I'm using the latest one, 1.812. So how do I do that? First, I close the program, and then you need to grab a library for the Attiny85. And once you grab that, you got to go to Arduino folder, which is usually under the documents folder of your um, Windows, and create a folder called hardware and paste that library here. I will put a link in the description below from where you can download a zip file for this library and unzip it and put it under the hardware. Okay, and that's it. So now we have the library in the proper location, so Arduino should be able to see it. In case it didn't work, you can always check where Arduino is putting its library or folders. The way you do that is from File Preferences. As you see, the path to where I have the Arduino folder is my user profile folder, documents, and the folder called Arduino. That's where I created the hardware and uploaded the library. Okay, so that's that. And when you open the IDE back up, now if you go to boards, you should see at the very bottom you should see bunch of library loaded for the Attiny. So the one that we are looking for and we're going to be working with is Attiny25, 45, 85. That's what we want. So we select this one, go back to tool, and then select the chip 85. That's what we want. And in our case, we want to be using the internal clock of the chip. We're not using any crystal or anything to make an external, clock. So we're going to be using the 8 megahertz internal clock. So once you have that, the next step is go to programmer and select Arduino as ISP. It's very important. As ISP, not there is another one. It shows Arduino ISP. We don't want that. Arduino as ISP. Okay. So when we have all that selected, then you could burn your bootloader. The bootloader gets burned to the chip. If this is the first time, you only need to do this one time. You don't, if you're reprogramming your chip, you can skip this step. But if it's for the first time, you need to do this. So after you did this, then you can load up your program, and then rather than selecting the upload from here, if you're using the same version as I do, 1.812, I noticed that if I did this, it's going to fail. So from the sketch, you have to select this option, upload using programmer, because we are actually using an Arduino Uno board as a programmer. So we have to select this option. And once you select this option, your code is going to get uploaded. Another thing that you need to pay attention to is if your program is actually defined for a different board, like let's say you have Arduino at Mega 328 or whatever, and you have a different pin selected, you have to change, because this chip only has, these are the data pin for the chip. So pin 0, for example, in my case, I'm using pin 0. And so you got to make sure that you define the right pin for your signal or for your data to be sent out. Otherwise, your program is not going to run. When you connect your LED or your hardware, you will not see it working. So that's another tip that you have to take into consideration. So once we have all that properly set, then upload using programmer, and the program gets uploaded to the chip happily with no issue if you had followed all the steps that I just showed you. Thank you.